play the important roles that has been assigned to us. So don't let me just speak about what we are here to celebrate, but also speak about the initiative that is pushing out this, which is the Agribridge initiative that brings all of us together today to speak about this. Agribridge initiative is committed to bridging the gap between knowledge and practical in agriculture through education, dialogue, innovation, and youth engagement. So through conversations like today's, we hope to equip individuals with practical knowledge that contribute to safer food system, healthier livestock, and stronger agricultural communities. Next on the agenda is introducing the keynote speaker, and it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. That is Mr. Momo Ajayi, who is a biosecurity officer with practical experience in animal health and biosecurity system. And he will be speaking today on the themes zoonoses arising, shared responsibility, shared space, understanding biosecurity, one health, and one collective role in livestock system. Let me take a moment to read out his citation. Momo Hajayi Emmanuel is an animal science graduate from the Federal University, Bukari, Taraba State, with over 6 years of professional experience in Nigerian poultry and swine industries. Throughout his career, he has combined technical expertise with hands-on field experience, playing a key role in poultry production and the implementation of biosecurity system. He currently serves as a production and biosecurity officer with one of Nigeria's leading poultry companies, where he actively involved in strengthening farm biosecurity, improving production efficiency, and promoting diseases prevention practices. Today, Momo will be leading our discussion on zoonoses arising, shared responsibility, shared space, sharing practical insight on how biosecurity can protect livestock, livelihood, and public health. So, join me to welcome Mr. Momo Ajayi. Thank you so much. You have the floor, sir.
Good evening, everyone joining, and welcome to this great discussion tonight. The moderator has said so much, and then without wasting much time, we'll proceed straight into what we have for today. Zoonoses are arising, shared responsibility, shared space, understanding biosecurity, one health, and our collective role in livestock system. What is giving us concern is the fact that we are sharing space. That is underline the word the clause shared space, which means there's a space in which we are dwelling in, and that is the earth. And we humans are not the only organisms living on earth. We have so many organisms living with us here, and then we have to take responsibility because we don't have another home. Now, straight to the point. Why the rise in zoonoses? Zoonoses are disease. What then is zoonosis? Let's understand what it is first before we can proceed. A disease that jump from animals to human. I use the layman word jump so that we can understand how critical it is and how it requires urgency for us to be able to handle it. Because if it's something that it will ask you, the zoonosis disease will ask you, okay, can I come in? If it's something we can decide to open door, it will just inform us before coming. We would have said, okay, maybe when it's coming or when they are coming, we'll tell them not to. But this is something that we don't have an option. It comes without even informing us. And it will surprise you to know today that 60% of every known disease comes from wild animal. Can you imagine that? The 60% of known disease today comes from wild animal. And also, you are also amazed us to know that more are on the way. So why zoonosis diseases are increasing due to human activities, which means we are actually the one causing this problem for ourselves. We are actually the cause of this. Yes, we are the ones suffering it when it comes, And at the same time, our approaches, our activities on Earth has caused all of this, because from onset it was not designed to be so. But due to our activities, so we are now beginning to find cause problem for ourselves. And how are we contributing to the rise in zoonosis? Number one, agricultural expansion and encroachment which destroy wildlife, wild habitats. Now, these animals are in there and they are staying on their own. Of course, we have our home because we and the animals are sharing the biosphere. The animals are in their habitats, and as a result of our activities, building, increase in our agricultural activities, like destroying of their habitat, we are getting closer and closer and closer to them. I'll give you a scenario. I know of a farm when a large parcel of land was bought. The owner of the farm just decide and fence the whole land, and then encamp all the animals that were in that bush before he came. And then as a result of that fence, those animals cannot go out, and then his own farming activities also was going on right in that same space, which mean his activities, and as a result of the farm activities, the population of people working on that farm have come more closer to those animals which were living peacefully in their home before we arrived. And then we said this displaced human coming in contact with human and our livestock. Now, when you see displaced animals, wildlife, as a result of bush burning and all this encroachment, as soon as we destroy their habitats, they will be homeless, and it will be difficult for us to even differentiate where some of those animals are staying, and as well as where human beings are staying. And global trading of livestock and wildlife. Of course, you'll be hearing of at the borders, animals cross from one border to the other, and at the same time, issue of hunting and selling animals across borders also has made this zoonosis. Is one of the way we've contributed to it. For instance, when you hunt an animal that is maybe in Nigeria here, and you now sell it, or you catch it live for death and sell it to a place, to a different location, and of course, even without knowing what exactly that our animal is carrying inside, exactly the kind of pathogens and organisms that the animal is carrying at the same time. So that alone as well can also help to arise zoonosis. And then lastly, okay, changing weathers. Like we have an issue of a global change in weathers and climate change, yes, all over. There are some places before whereby there are no mosquitoes because of how cold the place is. Mosquitoes do well in a tropical environment, but as a result of changing weathers, now the place increase in temperatures, you will now realize that mosquitoes will begin to approach that place. And as we progress, you also realize that there are some of these diseases that are even transferred by this simple mosquito. This simple organism living with us in our home can also help to transfer zoonosis. And then next slide, please. Higher density of livestock populations. Now let's see what are some zoonosis disease that is common with us, or that we can find within Nigeria. Some of us we might have heard of Lassa fever. Lassa fever came from rodents, of course, and most of us, I think in how many years ago, 4 years ago, we saw how terrible it was. We talk about rabies. Rabies come from bat and dog, and it can be transmitted through batting, through deep bite. That means if a dog should have rabies and the teeth come in contact with human, that person is likely also to have rabies. And when you eat a fruit that maybe has been eaten by bat who has the rabies, as well as it can be transferred. So we see avian influenzas, brucellosis, salmonellosis, yellow fever, anthrax. Now look at yellow fever. Now yellow fever comes from monkey. Monkeys are the reservoirs of yellow fever, but they can be transferred through mosquito bites. Just imagine just imagine you have a mosquito bite, and then you are now beginning to struggle with a different thing entirely. So it's now become too, most of us in all our homes we have mosquitoes. But the issue now is, if these things that if the vectors that transferring this disease are here with us, what then can we do? Because some of them, either the wildlife is around us, or our animal have contact with the wild animal, or even the vectors as small as rats or mosquito can even transfer some of these deadly disease, and this call for urgency. It means we have a responsibility to take. We must not sit down and watch why our life is being destroyed because we share a space with this animal. Look at it now. Understanding shared space. You can see this is our biosphere where we are. This is our biosphere where we are. And then you will realize that this is a wild animal. Rat can easily get to the wild animal in the bush. At the same rat will come inside your room, and then defecate, urinate onto a meal or water, then we will now eat. The same rat can get into our livestock farm, urinate on their feet, those animals will eat. But let me tell you, some of those diseases, where some of these organisms that causes these diseases, once they get to human, they mutate over time. They mutate over time until they get to a point whereby they can strike. And that is why we must stand to take responsibility, because we are sharing space with these wild animals. We are sharing space with these wild animals. And wild animals are the reservoirs of these zoonoses. And you also want to know that most times these animals are not even affected. They are not affected by these pathogens. But immediately they get to human, then they mutate over time and begin to cause problems to humans. So what then can we do? We must stand to responsibility. We must stand to defend our space. We must stand to defend our life. Then understanding our shared responsibility is very, very important. You are a farmer, a government agency, even a consumer of livestock, or a veterinarian. What can we do? What then can we do? A farmer is to ensure that the animal that he or she is keeping on his or her farm is not being affected by any of these diseases, which means a farmer must keep rats away from his farm. A farmer must ensure that he's not keeping a place for mosquito brood. He ensure that no wild animal come in contact with his farm, with the animals from his farm. He ensure that vectors like ticks, mosquitoes, and flies, and rats, and all of them does not come in contact with them. The veterinarian is to ensure that animals are being vaccinated. Then it's also our responsibility to ensure that if you have dogs, you have swine, you have poultry, or you are dealing with goats, cattle, it's our responsibility to ensure that this animal keep to date with their vaccines. Vaccines help help the animal to build immunity before these things even comes. That which means by virtue of some of these diseases are even airborne. So which means if the animals are already immune, the animal in your care are immune, at the same time you are also protected, because if you are able to protect the animal in your care, definitely you are also protecting yourself. Imagine working in a poultry farm where avian influenza strike, and then you will come down with avian influenza. Or imagine going to the market to buy a pork meat, not knowing that this animal died as a result of African swine fever. So it's also the government also have responsibility to ensure that every animal coming to her space is free of these diseases. Now the issue now is most of these of our farmers are not, their farms are not even insured. You see farmers with 50 or 100 heads of swine, and all of a sudden African swine fever will just come in and start killing the animals. The farmer will think of how much he's losing on his money, and how much money he's losing And then instead of destroying those animals, he will find one way or the other to smuggle those animals into the market. Then me and you will now go and will buy the animal, will eat it, and then we'll start having problem. So it is now time that even as a consumer, you want to buy anything animal, or you want to buy meat, you want to buy anything at all, you buy it from a certified source. We buy it from a certified source and ensure that every animal under our care is being vaccinated. Then biosecurity. How do you ensure that these animals under your care does not come down under the are not infected with any of these diseases? Because as soon as they get infected, we are not safe. Next slide, please. Now, biosecurity. I call it our life jackets. You can imagine a sailor going on a long journey with a ship and then without a life jacket. If anything happens, he or she is going to lose his or her life. But our own life jacket is not to save us when anything happens. Biosecurity is our life jacket that will protect us from these zoonoses, that will protect our animals from coming down under any of these diseases, that will protect our life from being affected by any of these diseases. And that is the only thing we can do. Now, that is a strategic, structural, and combination of physical barrier, behavioral practices designed to prevent the introduction and spread of pathogens. Some of these behaviors that we put on the farm, for instance, a farmer going into his pen without doing food dip, is very simple and something we can look away from. But you can pick anything from outside the environment and take it inside that pen where those animals are living, and as soon as it gets there, it becomes something else. Or you may not have a well-structured farm whereby white birds can even come in and interact with your poultry birds, and these white birds are reservoirs of avian influenza. And by the time these birds get infected by avian influenza, those people working there are not safe. Imagine having having hundreds thousands of birds, and all of them are being destroyed. At the same time, you will realize that the farmers will not have option, that will be smuggling the eggs and the product from this farm into the market, and you and I, not knowing, will now go and eat it. So it's time for everybody to take responsibility. You can see bio-exclusion to ensure that no pathogens enter. Then we have bio-confinement to ensure that even if it enter any farm, it doesn't spread to the nearest neighborhood. And then bio management. If it comes into your farm, it doesn't spread to another part of the farm. And this is our responsibility. Now, biosecurity summary. I call it a snapshot of biosecurity. As one working in a poultry farm, you were expected to shower before we enter. Put on your personal protective equipment. Avoid moving from younger birds from older birds to younger birds. The movement is supposed to be from younger birds to older birds, and it applies to every animal, be it swine, be it cattle, be it any animal. We must move from the younger to the older. But in some cases, you see farmers being nonchalant about this, or you see them bringing vehicle bringing in feed, and the vehicle is not properly washed and disinfected, and to now bash into the farm. Who knows what the vehicle is coming with? Or at the same time, you will see a dirty farm environment. In a swine farm, we're supposed to keep it clean always and hygienic, because tick is the vector that can transfer African swine fever. And if the environment is not clean enough, this insect, they brood, and then as soon as they get to the animal, if the tick has the virus, you definitely transfer to the animal, and then we'll now be saying we eat it, we'll now be having problem, or even working with such animal is already a problem. So this is sincere. We don't have another home, and we must protect our home. And the only home we have is the earth. And these wild animals who are reservoirs of these sicknesses and these diseases, most of them they don't even come down. It don't even affect them. It don't even affect them at all. But as soon as this organism get to human, it mutates over time. It mutates over time. It mutates, and then it will now get to a point whereby it will start affecting human beings. What happened during Ebola? What happened during Lassa fever? Ebola pandemic? A whole lot of lockdowns for period of time. Perhaps just because some human beings came in contact with an infected bat. And when the disease came up, the disease never knew that, no, these were the people that interacted with that bat. No, it came against every human race, and it became wildfire, killing people from one city to the other. If those people that came in contact with the bats, yes, if they were careful enough to avoid that bat, imagine the losses that happened within that period. The economical losses, businesses were shut down. Many persons lose their life simply because some human being came in contact with bats, infected bats. So we, in our own little way, in our individual farms, in our individual farms, or where we are working, or where we are keeping our animals, or even the pets we are keeping at home, a little slide of mistake that makes this animal to be infected with the zoonosis disease, this animal can infect us, then our next neighbor is not what? It's not safe. Let's not forget our high point today. The high point is that ensure every animal living around you is properly vaccinated, and keep them away from wild animals. Keep them away from dirty environment. Keep vectors like rats, mosquitoes, ticks, flies, bats, all those ones that can transfer those diseases. Keep them away from the environment. Now, you can now see common mistake that farmers does. I have even begun to mention this earlier. Number one, use of disinfectant, incorrect, wrong dilution. Now, as simple as it is, when you are entering a poultry farm, you are expected to do your food dip before entering, and it's even applicable to especially all the animals. Then you will now see somebody out of rushing for what we don't understand, and you now bash into the pen without doing food dip. What are we now saying is that this is the same slippers that you use outside the environment. You could mash pieces of this local chicken, and those local chickens are reservoirs of many things as well. You could mash pieces of droppings of wild birds, and then you would pick them straight into the pen, and it's very bad. Or you will miss or you will see a food dip dirty, even with manure inside. And as the food dip is getting dirty, the cat dip is getting dirty, and all of those ones is getting dirty. So also the level of the disinfectant and the potency of the disinfectant in it will begin to depreciate until it becomes inactive. You'll be seeing it like a water mixed with disinfectant, but not knowing that it has turned to ordinary water. These are simple mistakes. That number one. Another mistake again, you will see, I've mentioned this already, you will see vehicles entering a farm space without properly being disinfected. Or a farm has become a tourist center where friends can easily bash in. I just say, let me come and say hi to you. If you want to say hi to you, meet on the road, meet in your house, not on your farm. Because as far as you are protecting your business, you are also protecting yourself. Our shared responsibility, One Health, is that you ensure that every animal under your care or animal you come in contact with does not come down, none of them come down with
any of these diseases, then you are at the same time protecting yourself. And then you will be surprised to note that even World Health Organization in their 2022 discussion, they made it clear that people should do away with consuming and selling of wildlife, which means going into the bush and even killing, according to World Health Organization, going into the bush and even kill an animal to eat without knowing what the animal is harboring is even not the best for our health. But this is where we find ourselves. And then we talk about the Nigeria factor in it, whereby anybody can take an animal and kill without even taking to the abattoir. And even the vet in the abattoir, you see people buying, you see an animal demarcated and looking terrible, such that we can even see that no, this one is sick. And a vet in the abattoir is to ensure that it's certified that no, this animal is disease free before it can be brought into the abattoir and killed, then sell to people. But then the Nigeria factor, because most of these farms are not under insurance, some animals may even get to the farm get to the abattoir dead on arrival, or even die before getting there, or they will bring a dead animal there. And the vet must not condemn it, because if you condemn it, who will pay the farmer? The farmer, the vet may even lose his or her life trying to condemn such animal. So as a farmer now, I will advise that every farmer should first of all consider their health even over their money. And in order for you not to lose your money also, do the right thing, insure your farm, and ensure that you keep biosecurity of your farm as tight as possible, because in doing that, you are also protecting your life. And then another thing again is what common mistake is keeping isolation newly purchased animal. Normally, we're supposed to quarantine every newly purchased animal. Like you buy, you have a sows where you now go to buy a boa that you want to use to cross. You're supposed to have a quarantine session where that animal will be kept for a reasonable number of days, usually no less than 30 days, to observe if this animal is healthy, and then certified before you can introduce the animal into your herd of swine. Or you have the same thing applicable to every animal. So why then will you buy animal and then decide to throw it straight into your flock without knowing what the animal is carrying? Then you must also practice all in, all out. For what? For poultry. But most times you will see where a farmer will plan that, okay, while this one is going, this one is the next, especially those born in commercial. You see birds of 2 weeks, you see birds of 4 weeks, you see another one of 6 weeks. And then it's the same person who is managing these 2 weeks, that is managing the 4 weeks, and is managing the 6 weeks, which is very wrong. And in terms of movement, you are supposed to go first to the younger ones, and even you shower before you go there with a different clothes. And when you are coming out, you shower, change your clothes before you go to the next section. But because it look tedious and look expensive, you now decide to be just to go and feed them. Then you begin to transfer from one place to the other. That is common mistakes you can see, and we go over and over and over and over and over again, and so many of them. Then the consequence, you will see the disease spreading like wildfire. Keeping these animals together, any little thing, have you tried to note, have you tried to think that, look at some of these animals that are being reared extensively, going maybe like our local chicken or even goats on the road. Sometimes some of them may not even get sick. But when you keep these animals together, like a high population, any little thing that comes there, it can easily overpower them, especially because the environment there is small, and then there's water, maybe if there's enough moisture in the atmosphere, the humidity and the temperature, any pathogen that gets into the place can easily spread, and then this animal will get infected. So we should ensure that some of these mistakes from our own end, as learned person, or as somebody who has attended this discussion today, we are free of it. That we should not be someone who will still be repeating the same thing. I will still repeat our highlight today. First of all, you keep every animal under your care. as you take care of them and ensure they don't come down any of these zoonosis diseases. Make sure they are properly vaccinated and buy animal from a certified person, a certified company. You don't just buy animal anyhow without knowing what the animal is carrying. Or don't just buy. We advise that we buy meat from a certified. But how many of our poultry farm today have that certification? But then we can also help ourselves and ensure if you have animal under your care, insure them so that you will not be under compulsion to sell a dead animal to the market. It's not good. Or you not just go out and just indiscriminately hunt a wild animal and consume. You get a bat, you consume, or we get rodent, we consume, or we get any of those ones without knowing what they are carrying. That should not be the reason why the next pandemic will start again. Now, biosecurity is an investment, but because it safeguards livelihood and protect us from disease outbreak. Don't see biosecurity to be costly, because just imagine you just start a farm and then you have to spend on vaccinating the animals. You have to spend on buying disinfectant. You have to spend on making the place clean. You have to spend on buying personal protective equipment. You have to spend on ensuring that the place is kept away from rats, because you have to ensure that rat does not have access to your farm. How do you do that? One of the easiest practices, sometimes when you get to some farm, you realize that they have an area of land that surround the building where the animals are staying, that is the pen, filled up with granite, because rats find it difficult to walk on granite. And if you keep that granite intact without grasses growing on it, you will realize that hardly will you see rat crossing those granite inside. So you see that all those structures, they are very, 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 very costly. Building a road path, a proper road path, whereby not every road linked to your farm. No, you should have a road, a well-defined access road whereby anybody coming can pass through the place. And let it not be that the person is entering straight where your animals are staying. You have to come through where the person can be certified that no, this person has already passed through biosecurity protocols. He has taken his or her bait. He or she has changed her clothes. Then is now wearing a new clothes, and then he's wearing a new boot with all the PPE. Then going to the animal to check, and even with that, you must restrict them from going into assessing your animal as much as is in your capacity, and then keep those animals away from wild animals. You see that we have to build nets that will stop a wild bird from flying in. How costly it is, but let me tell you something. If this animal gets infected, okay, for example, now a bird gets infected by avian influenza. First of all, every bird there will be destroyed. Then they are going to mark a radius of 500 meters around your farm, and every animal of 5 kilometers around your farm, and every animal found within the location will also be destroyed. Every bird found within the location will also be destroyed. Then the people working in that poultry farm will be quarantined for a reasonable number of days for proper inspection and then for treatment, to ensure that these people who has not contacted this virus, and then they will not be the one again to go and infect outside community. Now, considering that the cost, considering that cost or the losses that arise from this such outbreak, compared to you ensuring that your farm is properly kept and nothing comes in, which one is better? So also is applicable to swine. For even African swine fever, it has been around for many years and it's been going from one farm to the other. So many have lost their farm. You see, the farmers sometimes they take this thing from even where they are buying feed to their animal, because most of them come with bags from their farms, dirty bags, and then they will mix it up and then take these bags again to another person's farm. Before you know, something will start up. And some of these diseases are even are even airborne, which means the best thing is that it must not happen in any location. And this is why it's our shared responsibility to ensure that this thing does not happen in any location, because if it does, it will go beyond where we expected it to. I'm running up now because of our time. Then biosecurity is our life jacket. I keep saying, let's put it on. Biosecurity is our shield from zoonosis. Biosecurity is safer and cheaper than cost of treatment or loss an animal from disease outbreak or outbreak of zoonosis disease. So you can now see that ensuring that you vaccinate every animal kept under your care. You yourself ensure adequate biosecurity, high standard biosecurity of your farm, and ensure that this animal does not come down any disease. This is better and cheaper than having this disease around us. And so this has brought us to the end of my presentation. Always be on your life jacket, which is what? Biosecurity. Because without it, we will end up being drowned in this zoonosis river, because more are on their way. But we can stop them if we do the needful. If we do the needful, we can stop zoonosis from striking our shared space with this wild animal. Thank you very much. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much. Let me take my time to appreciate one more time, sir. Mr. Momo, Ajayi, thank you so much for that insightful presentation. And like I said earlier, I know everyone will surely agree with me that this session has provided practical knowledge on the importance of biosecurity and the one approach in preventing zoonotic diseases. So we sincerely appreciate your time and expertise all the way from the Agribridge team, sir. So we will now move into our moderated panel discussion and a question and answer session. Right about now, the chat box is open for questions and answer. And if you want to unmute your mind to ask question, you can raise your hand. But before I start entertaining questions, I would like to introduce the second panelist who will be joining Dr. Mr. Momo Ajayi, the person of Dr. Timothy Odoro, a veterinarian with a valuable experience in animal health and diseases prevention. Please, I will take about 1 to 2 minutes to read his citation right about now. And while you reading the citation, if you have questions you want to ask, if you are too shy, if you're a shy person like me that you don't want to unmute your mic to speak, you can easily type it in the comment section. So Dr. Timothy Odoro is a licensed veterinary surgeon who earned his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Agriculture, Makurdi, now Joseph Sawan Taka University, Makurdi. With over a decade of professional experience, he has worked extensively in livestock production, veterinary practice, and animal health management, supporting the establishment and management of commercial livestock enterprises while contributing to research in animal and public health. He currently lectures in the Department of Animal Health and Production Technology at Akparan Oshi Polytechnic, Yadev, Benue State. He is also an acting member of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, NVMA, and served as the chairman of the Association of Private Veterinary Medical Practitioners, Benue State chapter. So please join me to welcome Dr. Timothy. Thank you very much. I want to quickly check the in-call message if there's any message. I can see that there's no message right now. And so far so good, no hand raised. I want to believe the first speaker did a good job, but at the same time we are still entertaining very good questions from everyone. So pending the time, every question will start rolling in. We have a question for Dr. Timothy. Okay, so sir, Dr. Timothy, the first question that we have for you is that from a veterinary perspective, what are some of the most common zoonotic diseases livestock keepers should be aware of in our environment? And what early warning sign should never be ignored? I'll take that question again. That from a veterinary perspective, what are some of the most common zoonotic diseases livestock keepers should be aware of in our environment? And what early warning sign should never be ignored? Please, over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, first of all, I want to appreciate the moderator for doing a very good job. I also want to thank the first speaker, Momo Ajay. How I wish I can associate you a veterinary degree because he did a very good job discussing zoonosis today. Um, Before I go to answer that question, I want us to all understand that when we talk about zoonosis, it's when it becomes a human concern because we have animal diseases and economic importance, we look at that. But when it becomes a human health concern, then it becomes more alarming. So there are zoonotic diseases that are not alarming, but they are common because the signs in humans are mild or self-limiting. So oftentimes we don't keep a tab on them, but we always become alarmed when there are fatalities in humans and in animals. Now, to your question now, there are common zoonotic diseases. I will begin with the simplest. There's something we call cutaneous lava migrans. People who have dogs and cats. It's a parasitic disease of this species, cat, dogs and cats. But when humans get so much involved with these animals, they have some skin reaction, dermatitis, which is as a result of your interaction with these animals. It's zoonotic because the problem of the animal has been transferred or transmitted to you, but it is self-limiting. So sometimes we don't notice that, parasitic diseases like ancylostoma in cat and dog can also have an effect in human or a manifestation in human, which is of public health concern. Secondly, we have the more alarming ones like rabies, which is a common viral disease in dogs. Everybody, even the people in the village, are aware of rabies, but how well we are prepared or how well we keep off stray dogs is another thing. And thank God for Momo Ajay. He has given us a very good insight. Now, after rabies, we have anthrax. Anthrax in the last 2 or 3 years came back to Nigeria in almost every state. We're talking about anthrax. Watch out for signs. Your animals dying suddenly and then blood oozing from body orifices. We also have brucellosis, which is also a zoonotic disease of bacteria in nature. Brucellosis also has some manifestations in humans, and we should take note of that. When we have animals and we are losing them or they're having abortions in the last trimester of pregnancy, it's questioned. You have other signs like otitis in the male animals. Brucellosis can also be a zoonotic disease. Then we have pandemics, those ones that are worldwide in nature, the likes of Ebola, the likes of Lassa fever, the likes of mpox and avian flu. All these are some common zoonotic diseases that we have encountered in the last decades. Now, the common signs you see in humans or in animals, in humans for avian flu, you have flu signs, respiratory in nature. And if it is traced to your continuous contact or constant contact with birds, and the birds are being tested positive of that, we know that is zoonotic. We also have Lyme disease, which is also bacteria in nature. The first speaker talked about some vectors like mosquitoes, like bats. Yes, mosquitoes transmit most of these diseases, Lyme disease, mpox, and the rest of them. So some parasitic ones also, we have them commonly. Cysticercosis, we like pork meat in Benue State. I'm from Benue State, and we like pork. And there is cyst caused by a tapeworm that is common with pigs, and the life cycle involves humans. When you consume pork that is not well cooked and is infected, the parasite develops to the adult stage, and then eggs are laid and passed out in your own stool. And these animals will either go and eat the feces, or the feces are washed by running water into the stream, and the animals get in contact, and then the life cycle continues in the pig, and then the human, which is the definitive host, consumes it. The symptoms are inhuman in this regard. So we have so many toxoplasmosis, which are parasitic, but for common ones, because we may have audience who may not be well knowledgeable in this. Let me mention anthrax. Let me mention rabies. Let me mention Ebola. Let me mention Lassa fever, maybe tuberculosis, avian flu, and mpox. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that detailed and yes, it is a very detailed answer, because I believe a lot of us have learned quite a lot from that particular answer you give, and shedding more light through the answer you give us. Thank you very so much for that. So the next question is to Mr. Momo Ajayi. So as a biosecurity officer, many diseases outbreak become more difficult to control because warning designs are missed or reporting is delayed. So, what should livestock keeper pay close attention to? And what steps should they take when they suspect a disease that could pose a risk to animal or people?
Okay, thank you so much for that. Of course, if a disease is being noticed on the farm, first of all, before you can be able to know what exactly it is, you must have to go through the lab, because yes, the doctor will share more light on that. But you also agree with me that all you can do is that you could see a sign that, oh, this is what I'm suspecting, and then there may be more than one disease that have that particular sign. So if that and another thing again is very important, that we don't treat blindly on our farm, even though it's not a usual practice with most of our farmers. They see a sign and then they go to any close by shop, buy a medication, give to those birds or those animals, and they believe they are treating. But the best thing is to collect a sample, get you get a professional, a vet doctor, most preferable, to get the sample, take it to the lab, confirm what it is. And then if such is confirmed, for instance, for the birds, you confirm that these birds have avian influenza. So the owner of the farm should not, sometimes the farmer may be so smart enough that, my birds have avian influenza, let me quickly sell them off. That will be very bad. So the best thing is to report to the government agency involved, and then they will come, do the needful, and most times, in fact, the farmer will lose those animals, either compensated or not. But the key thing is you don't look after at that point, the farmer should not be concerned with the lost, but what should be concerned is the life of people that will be lost if you try to play smart.
I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, sir. That is a very, very crucial point. We really appreciate you, sir. So still building on that, Dr. Timothy, still building on that, we have a question for Dr. Timothy, which is that vaccination is often discussed as part of disease prevention. So how does it fit into an effective biosecurity program? And what common misconception do you encounter among livestock producers? I hope you got my question, sir.
Take it again, please.
Okay, I said vaccination is often discussed as part of disease prevention. So, how does it fit into an effective biosecurity program? And what common misconceptions do you encounter among livestock producers?
Okay, thank you. First of all, every farm should have a hard health program, which the farm should follow strictly. And the hard health program entails biosecurity, proper husbandry practices, and the health aspect. So if a farm has a hard health program, that program includes all necessary vaccinations for preventable diseases on that farm, including those of zoonotic nature. So um, a well-structured farm should have that, and that's the reason why a well-structured farm should have everybody, including the health personnel or health expert, to anchor their part. And then the productionists will do their own part. The biosecurity expert will also bring in their own part, and that keeps the farm whole. Now, the common challenges we have with farmers is, like the first speaker said, you have birds of different ages, and for the sake of economies, you just want to have one person doing everything. That's a total breach of biosecurity, and that is also going to have some health challenges, some health implications that you will also suffer. Now, sometimes it is because of lack of knowledge or maybe ignorance on the part of the farmers. So we often encounter these problems with farmers. All you need to do is to try to educate them, to bring them, to show them the right dimension, to show them the benefits of doing things rightly, ensuring you're strict or adhering to your biosecurity, and following your hard health, because failure to vaccinate at the right time is also a problem. And then when it comes to vaccination, there's a lot of education that farmers needs to get, where you obtain your vaccine, how you keep your vaccines, and how they are administered and when they are administered. All these are very, very key to success of any farm. It is not just enough to vaccinate. It is not just enough to uh, to 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 have good management. Some farmers will say, there is no way we keep our farm biosecurity. Nobody goes in, nobody comes out, and all that. But some of these diseases are airborne. So how do you prevent air from flowing through your farm? That becomes a problem. And like the first speaker highlighted also, some diseases comes in through termites, vehicles, personnel. Some persons in a swine farm will also go out there to another swine farm and come back to the farm. Now, farmers need to understand that even marketing of your livestock, where you market them, who goes to the market. So your farm staff who does the marketing or taking live animals out to the market to sell should not return to the pen straight away to pick up other animals or have any dealings with the animals. So these are real challenges we face with farmers. Some for the sake of economy or ease of doing things their own way, land themselves into big trouble. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive answer. And I believe every audience have gained one or two from that. So, right before I move to the next question, sir, there's a question waiting for us. No, you, sir, in the in-call message from Gary Valley. He said it is nice to be here, and in recent time, farmers has been experiencing sales of fake medications. So, what is your organization doing about that, sir? And do you know if there's a list of certified veterinary stores across Nigeria and indicated that his farm is located at Ilorin Kwara State? So, I think the main question from here is one, the sales of fake medications, fake vaccinations, and is there any step the organization is taking concerning that? And then the second thing is if there's a list of certified veterinary stores across Nigeria, farmers can easily go to and get what they need instead of getting the fake ones over and over time. Thank you, sir.
All right, that's a very good question, and I think it's very practical. It's coming from someone who is in the business and has encountered some challenges due to procurement of certain drugs or medications that turned out to be fake. Yes, there are regulatory agencies. The government has a role to play on that, and we have challenges with regulations when it comes to veterinary drugs. One of the reasons is because the right persons are not always in the right places to do the job for veterinarians. We come under an umbrella of NAFDAC, but until recently, NAFDAC never had veterinarians to regulate veterinary drugs. The human pharmacists were doing that, and there were a lot of deficiencies there. But recently, NAFDAC has been employing vets, and I know they have a department that is really trying to do that. Although the Nigerian space is big, very, very big, and fake companies keep on coming up here and there. But there are regulatory agencies that are supposed to take care of that. And I think they are doing their work. In addition, associations are also putting pressures on government to do that. And that's my standpoint because I represent an association in Benue State. Now, we first of all check ourselves. And that's why in my introduction, you saw a licensed veterinarian. Every veterinary surgeon in Nigeria should be licensed. Every year you subscribe. Every year you follow continuous education and you attend conferences. There's one that is coming up in October this year in Akwa Ibom. So every veterinarian in Nigeria should be up to date with the veterinary practices. Now, I always tell farmers, if you are engaging a vet to your farm or pharmacy or clinic, always make sure the vet is a licensed vet. There's an app you can check. Just get the VCN registration number of the vet, put it in that app, and it will show you license to practice 2026, license to practice, not license to practice. Then you know that that vet probably may not be up to date with that. Then the part of farmers also or drug users that is a concern to us is sometimes what appears to be very cheap might be actually your problem. Now, because of money, people prefer buying 200, 300, or 500 naira drugs for the problem of their animals. In poultry, there are a lot of fake drugs circulating. Sometimes I ask myself, and yes, I ask myself whether the regulatory bodies like NAFDAC or the Veterinary Council of Nigeria is really looking at some of these drugs. You have a drug that contains about 5 antibiotics, 5 different antibiotics. Then I wonder what that drug actually wants to cure. But you see most of these drugs, they will write a number certified by NAFDAC. That's where I have a query, but I know that in recent time, vets have been employed in NAFDAC and they should be doing their job to help farmers to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that practical insight, sir. So, still building on that, this question pop up, that is about the misuse of antibiotics in livestock, continue to be a global concern. So, what practical advice will you give a farmer on the responsible use of antimicrobials to protect both animal and human health? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Um, First of all, farmers should know that the key to the success of your business is not drugs. Animals or any livestock that you have under you has the right to be healthy. And the right to be healthy is not derived from drug. Good food, good shelter, good environment, and you keep your animals very, very safe. If you have to vaccinate, do vaccination at the right time, at the right age, and the right technique. So some people believe that raising broilers, for instance, from day 1 to 6 or 8 weeks, every day the chickens are taking antibiotics. Every day the chickens are taking antibiotics. Wow. Even the white people that came with chemotherapy and all that are trying to go back to organic poultry production. So we take a lot of drug residues in the animal byproducts that we consume. And that is the genesis of antimicrobial resistance in humans. So livestock farmers should learn to up their husbandry practices on their farms and biosecurity. And that will save them from the continuous use of antimicrobials. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful comment. So, now we have some question waiting for Mr. Momo that we want him to like shed some light on. As a biosecurity officer, how are the changing climate, animal movement, and evolving farming system influence the emergence and spread of zoonotic diseases?
Okay, thank you. Um, the change in environmental factors like increase in weather, temperature, and all of that. You agree with me that mosquito does well in places in a tropical area than they survive in temperate, which means in a location where it's full of snow and then very cold, you barely see a mosquito survive in such environment, which means if that be the case, any disease that are being transferred or that can be transferred from animal to human through mosquito, of course, be of minimum if that is the only route through which the disease can be spread. Then, for the issue of intercontinental like transfer of animal from one location to the other. For instance, if an infected animal come into our space now through our border, let's say somebody just get out there and then sees a boa or a bull with very good and appealing phenotypic character that he likes. He may decide that, oh, let me get this animal and use it to breed on my farm. So such animals coming into the farm is now the duty of those regulatory body at the border to ensure that such animal coming in are free of diseases. Which means if the animal is having issue with, is having any of these disease that can be transferred to human, and then it's already affecting them over there, bringing such animal here, the person bringing it will be affected, and the environment where the animal is coming to also will also affect human beings.
Yes, sir. Sorry, thank you so much for that. And honestly, we really appreciate each and every contribution from our panelists today. In the light of that, I notice more people are just joining, and I would like to let us know in the question and answer session. If you have any question at all you want to ask, about what we are discussing tonight, the floor is open. You can either go to the income message to drop your question or raise your hand so that you can be called upon to answer questions. In the light of that, Dr. Timothy, we have a question for you. This year is World Zoonoses Day, and the thing reminds us that we share responsibility and space. From your experience, how can farmers, veterinarians, researchers, public health professors, and communities work together to reduce the risk of zoonotic diseases? And before you get to answer that question, sir, there's a particular thing that we spoke about earlier, and the other speakers also spoke about rather, which is about how farmers hesitate to report suspected diseases because of the fear of financial loss or uncertainty. How most of them rush to like cover up, basically because of the financial loss. So the question about that is, what should the farmers when they suspect is nothing? I think you answered that already, but if you don't mind, shed more light on the importance of early reporting so that our farmers on this platform can learn. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you once again. Early reporting of disease, zoonosis, prevents that spread, and it also makes it easy for contact tracing. You know, zoonotic diseases, you need to arrest it where it's coming from. So if that outbreak is emanating from your farm and you are bold enough to report to the relevant authorities, it makes it easier for the government or the people in charge to trace who and who has come in contact with this animal. The animal was brought to the farm from China, okay? It came through this route. These are the persons that got involved. And quickly, those persons are going to be quarantined. And the disease will be contained and prevented from spreading wide. So early reporting is very, very important. Now, you asked about the role of veterinarians, if I get you right, farmers, and what will they do together? I just have one word for all of us: researchers, farmers, veterinarians, productionists, and what have you. In One Health, it means collaboration. We need to collaborate. The human counterparts, the veterinarians, the farmers, the environmental scientists, and everybody needs to collaborate, because zoonotic diseases take these patterns. So some of these diseases, like Ajay was saying about climate change, yes, the environment is the the brain behind the emergence of some of these diseases. So the environmental scientists, the wildlife people, are supposed to be the first liners in understanding or detecting the problem that is coming. So we need to collaborate. The veterinarians who understands the biology of livestock, of animals generally, should also come in to tackle zoonotic diseases that are emerging or emanating from animals. And then, if humans are involved, which makes them zoonotic, the, the human medics or paramedics should also be proactive in taking care of the signs and symptoms in humans to prevent further spread to other persons. So the key word here is collaboration. And as we celebrate World Zoonoses 2026, that is the key word that I want all of us here and beyond to go with. We need to collaborate. You cannot handle it alone as a livestock farmer. You cannot handle it alone as a researcher. You cannot handle it alone as a vet. You cannot handle it alone as a human medic. In fact, as a matter of fact, it was until recently that uh, through one health approach, we've come to discover that sometimes the human tuberculosis, the strains of human tuberculosis that are treated with the regular antibiotics and are not responsive is because perhaps the person infected has an animal strain. And that's courtesy of the veterinary contribution insight of M tuberculosis in cattle that we have. So a shared responsibility in tackling zoonosis will help us a lot as we live and share this small space called health. So the key word is collaboration. So we need to collaborate in order to handle zoonosis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate that. But on that note, we have a question in the Hinko message from Garavali. It is a follow-up question from the question he asked earlier. He said, "Sir, can you let us know, we the farmers, the best approach to activate the remaining PPR vaccine after usage?" Then he also said, "Sir, what is your take about quarantine imported animals like Boa, Kalahari Red, etc. from South Africa, which have been administered with necessary medication before importation? Do I have to quarantine again? And what are the things to avoid? Sorry, what are the things to do to avoid overdose?" Thank you.
All right, thank you for that question again. The golden rule is that any animal coming to your farm should be isolated or quarantined because whatever they did there is their own protocol. So your own country also has its own protocol, and your own farm also has its own hard health. I've mentioned that. So always adhere to your own hard health program and not the one that they are giving you from South Africa. If the animals comes in, quarantine is not just for what you are seeing or what you are being told. There are certain things you need to check about the animal. So give them a space somewhere separate and allow at least 14 days to pass, because if they are harboring any disease within this period, it will manifest for you to see. And if there are claims of the animals being vaccinated against diseases that you should have vaccinated them, I think those claims are always backed up by evidence. Certified personnel from that country have given this. This is the document. This is the signature. Those things should not be taken for granted. It is not just by me telling you that your Boer goats from South Africa were given PPR, so you should not give them. No. You should see evidence. They were given dates. Then you take them in and quarantine them until after quarantine that you don't find any reason to administer any medication or do otherwise, that you integrate them into your flock. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The first question he asked, I think you skipped that. That is the best approach to deactivate the remaining PPR vaccine after usage.
Okay, maybe I didn't understand the question. Uh, I don't know what he meant by after usage. Like when you administer PPR to your animals and the one that is left, the leftover or what?
Correct, sir. The leftover.
All right. So the leftover vaccine is discarded. PPR vaccine has a time frame for you to administer. And after I think a maximum of 2 hours is okay. And after 2 hours, if there is no any other animal to vaccinate, you dispose of the vaccine in a place that the your animals or animals around will not contact the virus in the vaccine, so that you don't activate the virus. And if your animals get in contact or ingest by way of contaminating feed and water, they become infected.
Okay, thank you so much for that insightful explanation. I believe the person that has a question got it already. So before we move to the last part of it, Mr. Momo, we have a question for you, which is that if every participant leads this session and commit to doing just one thing differently over the next month to improve biosecurity and reduce the risk of zoonotic diseases, what would you want that commitment to be?
Okay, thank you so much. The commitment I would say again is our proactiveness in ensuring that every animal around us are healthy. And how do we do that? We highlighted them earlier, vaccinate when necessary, at the right time, the right vaccines, keep every animals under our care away from the wild one, and ensure the environment is clean enough. And that's in summary, let the biosecurity of the farm be intact. We should keep up with the biosecurity of our farm, as we explained, and also vaccinate the animal against any form of diseases. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, a very big appreciation to our two panelists on this session so far. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insights, and for answering every questions in details. We really appreciate you. Before we round up, if there's any other message, or sorry, if there's any other question you have for us, please kindly drop it in the income message or raise your hand so that we can entertain your question before we round up. So this year, World Zoonoses Day team remind us that we share responsibilities and space. So this question is to both the veterinarian and the biosecurity officer that are our panelists this night. From your experience, how can farmers, veterinarians, researchers, public health professionals, and communities work together to reduce the risk of zoonotic diseases? So far, the veterinarians, that is Dr. Timothy, has answered that question. So I will love if Mr. Ajayi and Dr. Timothy to answer this last question together, which is in one sentence. What is the most important message you want every participant to remember after today's discussion? I would like if Dr. Timothy can open the floor. You already established the word collaboration earlier, but if there's still more important message you want the participants to remember after today's discussion, you can open the floor, sir. Then Mr. Ajayi will share his own point of view on that. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, zoonosis is real, There are emerging diseases, emerging zoonotic diseases, and the only way we have to survive in our shared space is a one health approach, which I earlier on said collaborations. So we need all forms of collaborations to be able to survive in our shared space of zoonosis. Thank you.
Over to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will not say anything different from that. Just like in one of the slide I showed you in the diagram, it's everybody's responsibility as a farmer, as a consumer, and then a veterinarian and all the researchers, because it's a load that everyone must carry. Because if any of these disease comes, it will not, the disease will not check our CV to know, oh, this is a researcher. Let me leave a researcher and go to the vet. No. Or this, let me leave the vet and go to the farmer. No. It concerns everybody. And on everyday basis, we must, by all means, within our power, ensure that we we focus on this One Health and ensure that every animals around us are healthy, because in protecting the animals, we are also protecting ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate you, sir. I can see one particular hand raised. Please, you can unmute your mic and speak. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, man.
Yes, question is actually from the WhatsApp group. So, Ishi Andowase is asking, does overdose of a vaccine has negative side effects? So I think that question is for Dr. Odoro. Sir, does overdose of a vaccine has negative side effects?
Yes, vaccines are given according to prescriptions. We have different doses for different numbers of animals and sometimes different sizes or even different species. So the reason why vaccines are given like that is because some vaccines are live. First of all, vaccines are the pathogens of the disease being prevented. They are either killed or in attenuated form. That's the virulence has been reduced. So what you are given as a vaccine is just a little bit of the antigen in order to stimulate immune response from the host, from the animal. So it makes no sense if you give volumes of the vaccine. It doesn't make sense. It is not in the quantity that is administered that gives protection. It is just a little that is prescribed, the dosage that gets to the body and elicits or triggers an immune response for the animal to have immunity against the disease. Some vaccines are live. It means the pathogens are alive and still has the capacity to cause disease. So imagine loading an animal with live vaccines. It's like you are taking Newcastle or Gumboro or FMD and giving to the animal direct, collect the disease. So you will know there and then that you are the cause of the problem that will come. So the quantity of vaccine does not give any added advantage. Rather, for live vaccines, is going to land you into trouble. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to believe there's no other question in the WhatsApp group for now. Please let me to confirm that, ma. Okay.
Yes, none for now.
Okay, thank you very much. So I can say we have successfully entertained all the questions the curious might want to ask tonight. So thank you very much, Mr. Momo Ajayi and Dr. Timothy, for your insightful and complimentary perspective. Your wealth of knowledge, your practical experiences, and thoughtful contributions have given us a deeper understanding of zoonosis, biosecurity, and the One Earth approach, especially the collaboration everything brings together towards the success of our health as human and success of the animal's health. We sincerely appreciate your time, your expertise, and commitment to educating and inspiring us today. So, once again, let us give our distinguished panelists a well deserved round of applause using our emojis. Thank you so much, Sam. So, as we come to the end of today's dialogue, I have
Hello, ma'am.
appreciated. Okay, is
Mrs.
that
Success.
yes, sir?
I'm sorry, before we round it off, I have a question which I left in the question chat.
Okay,
Thank you. Yeah,
sorry.
I guess it's an over. Yeah, I know.
Okay, yes,
It's an
sorry.
oversight. Yeah, yeah.
I plan on replying that we will seek for their permission. Then if they say we can share it out, then we will share it out, sir. But I will speak to them directly and then let you know, sir. Sir, please, are you on the WhatsApp group so that we can get across to you via WhatsApp, sir?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I hope I've been able to answer your question, sir. Okay.
Correctly, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So, thank you once again, our speaker, our panelists, the convener of today's program, to Agribridge Initiative. Thank you for bringing us together. Big thank you to the participants who joined us, asked questions, and contributed to today's discussion. We believe today's conversation has reminded us about preventing zoonotic diseases begin with everyday action. Whether we are a farmer, we are a student, or a researcher, or a veterinary professional, a policy maker, a consumer. Today's conversation has reminded us that we have a role to play in protecting human, animal, and environmental health. So we encourage everyone to put today's lesson into practice and continue advocating for safer livestock system and stronger biosecurity measures. So once again, on behalf of the Agribridge Initiative, thank you for spending your evening with us. We hope to see you all at our future dialogues and learning events. I, as a moderator, is signing out. I wish everyone a wonderful evening. Stay safe and thank you once again. Good night.
Good night, Success. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your participation.
Okay, good night.